today's task is going to be changing out my batteries. For a while now, the batteries have been running a little bit slow, you might say. They're fully charging, going up to 100%, but then discharging very, very quickly. I'm having problems running my 240 volt system through the inverter. It's a 2.5 kilowatt inverter, and the batteries are just struggling to produce enough power. So I've bitten the bullet. I'm going to rip them all out and I'm going to install lithium. I'll show you the unit I'm going to use very shortly, but for the moment, let's start pulling these babies out. Okay, this is the setup I have. This is inside the engine bay, not actually underneath the gunnels. It's actually inside the engine bay, so it's nice and dry and warm in here. Starter battery is on here, point finger there. This is my starter battery, which is going to stay, and then I've got three 110 amp lead acid batteries, all chained together, and they've been working absolutely fine. They were on the boat when I bought it over a year ago. I had no idea how old these batteries are. There's no date or anything on them. But as I say, they've recently just been failing. This one here I disconnected last week because it was starting to get very warm. So I think this one, the cells have gone on this one. It's very warm. So I've disconnected this one, and I've just been running off the two, and it's just not enough. So I'm going to replace it with a 300 amp hour lithium battery. Okay, let's start pulling these babies out. Okay, I'm going to start by disconnecting everything. First of all, I'm going to turn every motor thing off. It's all off. Solar is now off. Everything is now turned off, disconnected at that source. I'm now going to start disconnecting all the batteries one at a time, and then get them out. I'm going to have to try and remember what goes where, of course, to replace them as they do. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. Well, that was a little bit more arduous than I thought. They're out anyway. I've had to show you, remove all of the fuses and shut-off switches and everything from this section, and eventually get them all out from here. But that's the box all nice and clear. I'm thinking of possibly lining this box with the polystyrene that came with the lithium battery, just to give it a bit of insulation for the winter. It shouldn't get cold as such in here. It's, as I say, it's actually inside the back cabin. It's not actually in the engine bay itself. So just to be safe side, I might just do that and line it in. But we'll go and get the new battery and see how it fits. Okay, that's the battery all installed in that polystyrene box now. That's not going to go anywhere, and it should keep it warm through the winter months. For the install, I'm going to use the bus bar system as opposed to wiring directly on the terminals. Try and get rid of this sort of rat's nest effect that we tend to have on the battery terminals. These are just screw terminals, so I just want really to have no more than 2 wires coming down to the battery and going up to these 300 amp buzz bars. That's my theory. Hopefully with just having the one leisure battery and one starter battery, the installation should be reasonably straightforward, he says now. Okay then, here we have the finished installation. Looking rather neat and tidy. As I say, I've put the lithium battery in the polystyrene box that it came in to protect it and keep it warm through the winter months. I've tried to keep the minimum contacts onto the new lithium battery, mainly because the screws that we have here are only about 10 mil, 12 mil long, so the maximum you can get on is 2 terminals anyway. But that's basically all I need. I've got 2 negatives, one going up to the fuse box for the 12 volts, one coming through and down onto the negative buzz bar for the earth point. Likewise, I've got the feed coming through to the breaker switch and the feed going up to the positive bus bar. The system I've tried to adopt at the moment is this wire here comes through the isolation switch, down this wire here and on up to the distribution box, which feeds all of the 12 volt surfaces, the lights, sockets, water pumps, all that kind of thing. The live feed comes from here up to the bus bar, and that is basically the charging. All the charging equipment comes down into here and feeds into the battery. I've got the solar power here coming through the breaker, down through fuse and into here. I've got the 240 inverter coming off here, through the isolator, through the switch, up to the inverter. And I've got the B2B, the battery to battery charger here being fed from here, from the starter battery, coming up through the fuse, through the switch, isolation switch, through and back down, through another fuse and down to the main buzz bar. So basically the starter and the leisure systems are totally separate. Nothing is connecting the starter battery to the leisure battery other than indirectly through the battery to battery charger. So there we are, and it's all working fine, it's all working well, and it looks reasonably neat. I've done it to the best of my ability. Please don't take this as a tuition at all on electrics. I've simply done my version of the research that I've done, and all seems to be well. Okay guys, just a quick little update before I zip this box back up again. Everything else is just about done. I've added a few little modifications. I've now just added a Victron shunt on there, so I can now monitor the state of charge on the lithium battery. I've also installed this little monitor here on the starter battery to do exactly the same, just to monitor the state of charge, all the rest of it on there. New little install, I've now installed a separate, just a little cheap solar controller, which is fed from the load output of this solar controller through the fuse up to the controller, so that when the leisure batteries are fully charged, I can turn on the load remotely, and whatever solar I'm still getting will go through this solar controller down through the fuses and into the starter battery, just to keep it topped up. I haven't got it on fully because I don't really need it. I need most of the charge to go into the leisure battery, but the facility is there for me that should the leisure battery be full, I can just quickly switch on the load and solar charge up the starter battery to keep that well topped up. So guys, that's about it. I think just about everything now installed. It's all working really well. Do I rate lithium as opposed to lead? At the moment, yes, absolutely spot on. I'm managing to run my 240 volt fridge 24/7. I had the TV on all evening from tea time till bedtime, 240 TV, and the battery went from 97% down to 93%, which I don't think is bad at all. So well worth it at the moment. I'll keep you posted and see how it goes. Enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's completely free. And of course, leave me some comments. I love reading your comments and your suggestions. Catch you later.